Hello everyone, welcome to Compiler Design class. Today we are going to discuss about loops in flow graph. So let me share my screen. Show the PPT so that you'll understand. So loops in flow graph. So we have seen how do we create at a basic blocks in my previous slides, and how do we insert or how do we computations, how computations can be done inside a basic blocks, and how do we optimize a codes, these informations that we have seen in the previous class. Loops in flow graph. So I told you, for executing a program, if a loop contains a number of lines, if a loop contains uh, what do you say? If a loop contains a difficult computations, then the execution time of a program will be enlarged, or the execution time will be more when compared to the other programs. So the loops plays an important role for reducing your execution time. Even in your loops you need to optimize it, correct? So before optimizing your loops, you need to make sure that your loops are structured one and not the unstructured one, correct? Your loop might be unstructured one, you might not be, the loop might not be knowing where it has to go, it keeps doing some other work indefinitely, it will be into the loop, or sometimes it is coming out of the loop unnecessarily, it will come out of the loop. Yes, so it is all happening because of the unstructured one. We should make it structured one. For that we'll be able to see, we are seeing this concept loops in flow graph. So generally we know that graph has been representing three address code. Yes, all your three address code is being represented as a graph in your basic block, and these three address code graphs, you call it as a flow of graph. How the flow is being going from one block to the other block, that we have seen it before itself. Yes. So why are we doing this loops in flow graph is we will be able to understand code generation algorithm, how a code is being generated after optimizing it, how it is being getting generated. These are the things that we will be able to understand in loops in flow graph. Okay. So the nodes in each loop will be representing a computation. That is, each block, you call it as block or a node, it will be representing the computation or whatever the calculation that you wanted to do, that will be taken care by each nodes, and the edges will be telling you the flow of graph, in which way it is going, to which block it is being connected. These informations will be given by the edges. That is all, your flow of controls will be taken care by your edges. This is all about your loops and flow graphs. So as we told that loops can be structured and unstructured, the structured flow graph is going to be like, I'll show you. A structured loop, which is called as a normal loop, has one entry point and one single point of exit. That is, a loop will be containing one entry and one exit, then it is called a structured loop. An unstructured loop will be, it will be having a multiple entry or a multiple exit, that you call it as an unstructured loop, or it will be coming going to unconditional jumps, you call it as an unstructured loops. So let me tell you an example for it. See, look into the example here. An unstructured loop for to reach 5, I can either go to 2, 3, 5 or to 5 to 3. Sorry, it is 2, 3, 5 and I have a back edge also, right? Or 3, 5 and a back edge. That you call it as an natural loop, correct? The loop which is going with the back edge, you call it as a natural loop. So here we are concentrating on the structured loop and unstructured loop. So in the unstructured loop, if you see this 2, 3, 4, 4 to 2 and again 3 and then 5, which is unstructured, correct? It is not in the structured way. Here if you see, it is taking proper loops will be structured loops will be 2, 3, 3 to 5. Okay, and 2, 4, 4 to 5 is another, that is 2 to 4, 4 to 2. 4 to 2 is another loop, correct? It is going back to it. So that is one entry, one exit for it, and then it is reaching to the point where it is started, is a structured one. And loop 3, which you considered as an unstructured loop, is 2, 3, 3 to 2, 2 to 4, to reach my 4, I will be able to go like this also, right? Since it is having a back edge, I'll be able to go like this also. That is a unstructured loop. So the loops and flow graph in compiler, the main concern about this will be to make it a structured way and make sure it executes very fast. For that reason only, we're making it in a structured way. So in loops and flow graph, what we are going to see is there are certain concepts to make it in a structured way. Those concepts are dominator, natural loops, inner loops, pre-headers, and reducible flow graphs. These are the concepts to make the loops in a structured way that we will be using it. So what is a dominator? Dominators are something like, for example, I have a path, I have a node, or I have a block wherein without reaching that block, I won't be able to go to any other blocks. Okay, right. For example, that block name is D. I wanted to reach the block N. So if I don't go to D, I won't be able to go to N or the remaining blocks. That you call it as a dominator. Then D is called a dominator because without reaching D, I won't be able to go to any other blocks or any other nodes, which you call it as an dominator. For example, for a dominator, so it is represented as D dom N. That is, the node D is dominating the node N. So that is D dom N, that will be represented as. So node D of an CFG dominates node N if every path from the initial node of the CFG to N goes through D. As I told you that without going to D, I won't be able to go to any other path. Yes, so that is why it is called as an dominator. The loop entry dominates all nodes in the loop. Yes, since that is going to be the initial node, it will be dominating the all other nodes. The immediate dominator of M. For example, the dominator, the N is the one, the node which I found it. For N, D is a dominator. Again, for N, I have another nodes. For those nodes, I can simply say D is a dominator of those nodes also in turn. Correct? So if D not equal to N and D dom N, then D dom M also. Okay. I'll show you an example for that. The example here, dominator tree is going to be here 1, 2, I will be able to go to 3 either by 2 to 3 or 1 to 3. Correct? So if I go to 3 only, I will be able to go to 4. I will be able to go to 5, 6, 7. I will be able to go to the remaining loops or the remaining nodes I will be able to go. So 3 is a dominator of a 4. Loop, the block 4. The flow 4 is having in turn 5, 6. Right? I will be able to either go with the 4, 5, 7 or 4, 6, 7 also. Correct? So 3 is dominating 4. Here, without going to 7, I won't be able to go to 8. Correct? So 7 is a dominator of 8. Correct? And 8 is a dominator of 9 and 10. I can in turn say 3 is a dominator of 8. Okay? So 3 is a dominator of 8 because 3 is a dominator of 4. 4 is a dominator of 5 and 6. 7 is a dominator of 8. So I can say 3 is a dominator of 4 as well as 7 as well as 8 I can say. This is your dominator. So I know 3 is a dominator. Now I can make my structured graph. Structured, loop is. So 1 to 2, 2 to 3. So after reaching 3 only, I will be able to go to other nodes. So 3 to 4, 4 to 5, 6, 7. From 7 to 8, 8 to 9 and 9 to 10. Correct? So this is how I am making a tree into a loop into a structured way to make sure it executes fast. That's the main intention of an compiler. Correct? So the next one is a natural loop. So what is a natural loop is whenever a node is having a back edge reaching to the same position where it started, then you call it as a natural loop. For example, in the previous one, you see 3 to 4 and again for simple loop in this we are taking it. Okay, 3 to 4, 4 to again 3. From 4 where it has started, from 3 it has started, again it is reaching to 3. It is a natural loop. And here 7 to 8, 8 to 10, 10 to 7 again it is going. It is also a one of the simple natural loop. You can also, we have two natural loops, inner natural loops and outer natural loops. And outer natural loops, if we take it, see here, from 1 it has started, 1 to 3, 3 to 4, 4 to 5, 5 to 7, 7 to 8, 8 to 9, 9 to again 1. This is also a way that where I can reach it to 1 where it has started. That is the outer natural loop, right? So inner natural loops example will be 3 to 4, 4 to 3 and 7, 8 and also 10. And here also you can take outer natural loop. From 8 it is reaching to 3. So 3 to 4, 6, 7, then 8. From 8 it is reaching to 3. It is an outer natural loop. This is the natural loop technique. So see here, a package is an edge A tends to B whose edge B dominates its tail. A given a back edge N tends to D. That is, the node after reaching N, the N will be having a back edge to the dominator. That is what it is saying. It is a natural loop. A natural loop consists of D plus the nodes that can reach N without going through D. That is what a natural loop. A loop header is node D. As I told you, header will be a dominator. Unless two loops have the same header, they are disjoints or one is nested within the other. A nested loop is an inner loop if it contains no other loops. If the inner loop does not contain any other loops, then it is called the nested loop. That is what they are mentioning. So natural loops. So algorithm for natural loop, that you will be giving a flow graph as an input and a package to the natural loop. And the output of that is going to be a set loop consisting of all nodes in the natural loop of n tends to d. That is, you will be able to find, if you leave off a graph and with the back edges of each nodes, it will be able to find out the natural loop. That's how the algorithm is going to be, how we are going to insert something. So initially we are going to put everything in a stack. All the nodes has to be initially put into the stack, and from the stack only it will be able to scan it, and then it will be able to find it out. So how do we put it into the stack? That we will be able to see it now. So the procedure for that will be procedure insert m. For insert, I will tell you how to insert it later. So after inserting m, if m is not there, we have to insert the m into the stack. So after inserting it, the node that is in this, I wanted to, for example, I'm telling you, these are the nodes that we have got it. The one which I wanted to insert it. For example, I wanted to insert 10 into it. If I wanted to insert a 10 into it, what I have to do is, I have to union with the loop. So loop union m. Then push m onto the stack. So now I have to, initially the stack will be empty. If the stack is empty, the loop is into the dominator. First in the dominator. Then it will insert the node which has been required. Then after n, which is the predecessor, or which is the one which is a successor, I need to find. And for each successor, are like after, while stack not empty, pop m. That is, we are putting it outside. Outside m is taking it outside. For each predecessor p of m, do insert p. So we are putting up all the predecessor of a node that we are inserting it to find out the back edge. If it is not there, that we will be putting it. This is the algorithm for the natural loop. So as we have discussed, see, natural loop for 3 dom 4. 3 dominator 4, the natural loop is this. And natural loop for 4 dom 7 is 4 to 6, 6 to 7, and 4 to 5, 5 to 7. Okay. 6 to 7. Okay. No, it is not natural loop actually. It is not going to the initial stage of 4. 4 to 6, 6 to 7. Then the arrow is going down. It is not going like this way. Okay. All right, a natural loop of 4 to 10 will be 7 to 8, 8 to 10, and 10 to again 7. So this is the natural loop of it is all outer natural loop, inner natural loop, and we have discussed about the outer natural loop also, according to which that we will be able to create a tree. Okay, and the next one is pre-header. So what is a pre-header is, to a header, we will be putting up another block which you call it as a pre-header. We have discussed an anticipation and a concept in anticipation. Remember that we need to find out for lazy code motion that we have discussed, right? We have to find the anticipation. Anticipation is something we need to know the expression which is going to be redundant. That is, we need to find out the redundant expression which is going to be often used in the upcoming program or in the upcoming loop or in the blocks. Then the expression will be executed only once in a block, and that will be saved. If it is having more than one successor, then it need to have a separate blocks. I mean, a new block has to be created wherein you need to update the content in it, that you call it as a postponable, where the postponable will be holding the content of the expression which is executed and it will be saved there. And the loops or the blocks which is been requiring that specific value, that will be taking it from the postponable block, and then it will be putting it up. Why we are doing that? Because we need to reduce the time for executing the program which has been already executed. I mean the expression which has been already executed, right? Because of which that we have created that if it is more than one successor, for that time we are taking it. You call it as a redundant block is having more than more than one predator, and the predator will be having more than two successor. That is, one is going for the redundant, the other one is going for the another block. So if I'm going to make changes in the predator, that is going to affect the other block, wherein my control flow will be completely the my loops will be completely wrong, or my program will go wrong. Because of which I'm going to add up a new block dedicated only for the redundant block, and that will be putting up the temporary variable wherein that will hold the values which is already been executed, right? So same goes for this also. For example, I have a program loops in the header, right? So when I have a loop in the header, so I need an like code motions, as we discuss here, code motion, strength reduction, another loop transformation, any transformation that we wanted to do it. And we came to know, since it is an anticipation, we are predicting in the beginning itself, we are knowing where and all it is being used. We are having a pre-header, wherein the pre-header will be having the information about the code that has to be moved out of the loop, and strength, that is operator precedence, has to be considered, and other work has to be loops invariant. These informations will be saved in the pre-header, so that the header will be using that with the help of a temporary variable which does not have to re-execute it again and again. And the other blocks also can use the same content if the value of which is not going to be changed till it reaches the node n. Okay, that is the concept of header to make your structured flow graph. And reducible flow graph. Reducible flow graph is something we need to check whether, like for example, I have a graph. See here, I have a graph here. So in this graph, if I'm going to, delete or eliminate the back edge. Okay, see here, 1 to 3, 3 to 4, and 4 to 3. This is a cyclic graph. Correct? It is reaching to the point where it is started. It is a cyclic graph, right? When it is going to be an acyclic graph, if I'm going to remove my back edges, if it is forming an acyclic, then you call it as a reducible graph, a reducible flow graph you call it as. See here, 1, 3, 4. If I'm going to delete this 4 to 1 edges, so 1, 3, 4. It is not acyclic. It is not cyclic. Correct. I'll be able to reach 4 only in one way. I am not going again back to 1. This is the cyclic. When it is forming acyclic, then you call it as a reducible. For here, you take up this one which is called as non-reducible graph. Why it is called as non-reducible graph is, see here, my package for 2 to 3 is going to be deleted. 3 to 2 is going again package to 2 to 3. If I'm going to delete, will I be able to reach it to 3? Yes. 3 to 2, 2 to 1, and again I'll be able to reach it to 3. The graph will be able to reachable to 3, which is a cyclic, which is also called as non-reducible graph. This is all about your loops in flow graph. So if you have any doubt regarding this, please watch my previous videos of basic blocks and control flow graph, so that you will be able to understand the concept of loops in flow graph, because it is a continuation of it. Only then you will be able to understand if you see that video. If you still need any queries, please leave a comment on this. Thank you so much for watching my video. Thank you.